Hi, this is Jörg, which is German for George here at Find a Job in Germany, Berlin. If you are a software engineer looking to work in Germany, it is essential for you to understand what you can actually expect in the technical rounds with a German company when you're in the interview process. Because after the first round or get to know round, typically comes that technical round. And from my experience, that's the one where it becomes really clear whether or not you're good enough, whether or not you're already at the level that German companies need you to be to consider you for a final round. So naturally, you want to be really well prepared for what's coming up. Here we go. Most technical rounds will follow after a get-to-know call. So typically, the tech round will be the second round of the application process. We have also seen coding challenges or take-home assignments being sent out to people as a first round because, there are actually companies that will be saying it doesn't make any sense for them to talk to anyone unless they have seen or gotten proof of their technical skills already, see that there is the necessary technical knowledge. But really, that's just a matter of preference or taste of how HR and the tech team of that company have designed the recruiting process. The first and most important thing that you should really expect in any technical round, of course, is an assessment of your programming and coding skills. How does that work? The interviewer will typically ask you to write code, solve programming problems, or review a code snippet that they're going to provide you with. And this is done to evaluate, of course, your technical skills, problem-solving abilities, and coding efficiency, how you look at what you're presented with, either the problem or the snippet. One more thing, the following will most likely be part of the hiring process if a person is directly involved. If you're, again, sent a take-home assignment or a coding challenge with a link that you need to follow and send in at a certain date, we've seen those to be pretty much about anything. They can, but they don't have to have anything to do with what the company actually does, which is also a regular point of criticism of take-home assignments. But be that as it may, in this video, I'm sticking to technical questions or technical scenarios in personal interviews. The coding skills, coming back to that then, the assessment may involve questions on various programming languages, of course, such as Java, Python, C++, JavaScript, among others. And naturally, it will depend on the stack that they're using at the company already and which is generally mentioned in the job description of the job that you've applied for. So you want to double check that, of course. Now, this typically applies to software developers, what I'm saying. If you're, say, DevOps engineer or a cloud engineer, you won't be asked to code in Java like you were a Java backend developer. So don't worry about that. But instead, they will still want you to be able to have a professional discussion on Java. Read the code, of course, see that you're able to go into that direction, right? Same with Python for data engineers or data analysts, for example. Your knowledge does not have to be super deep here. Naturally, it will help you, of course, but it's not a deal breaker, okay? But coming back to software development, and in general, you should be prepared to, I would say, demonstrate your expertise in at least one programming language, okay? And be able to showcase that you're versatile like that, okay? Of course, that will be the one relevant to the job that you're applying for. Now, apart from assessing your coding skills, the interviewer will also want to evaluate your understanding of algorithms and data structures. The second is really important. So you should expect questions on topics like sorting, searching, graphs, dynamic programming, these things. And the interviewer may, for example, ask you to solve algorithmic problems or explain your approach to solving a particular problem. Your approach is actually something that will be evaluated highly because it's really about your method. You should have a good understanding of the fundamental data structures and algorithms, of course, and be able to demonstrate your, and here it comes again, problem-solving skills using these concepts. So you should also be able to analyze the time and space complexity of algorithms, for example, and suggest ways to optimize them. You're going to find that this is a lot about communication, actually. I'm going to talk about this. So time complexity, coming back to that example, being the amount of time an algorithm takes to complete its task, while space complexity is the amount of memory required by the algorithm to complete its task, But again, it will end up in a discussion that you're going to be having. That is why, again, communication skills. Another important aspect of the technical rounds of your job interview is evaluating your system design and architecture skills, system design predominantly. You should be prepared to answer questions related to designing scalable, maintainable, efficient software system. That's pretty much how you can phrase it. And this is where I say you should generally demonstrate a good understanding of distributed systems, databases. It can be Mongo, it can be SQL, etc. Caching and load balancing. These things will play a role. Now, the interviewer may also ask you to design a system or architecture, depending on the seniority, for a particular scenario and evaluate your approach. You should be able to communicate your ideas effectively there and be prepared to defend your design decision. Now, coming back again, and I'm repeating myself here, this is really actually something we have observed on a regular basis. I'm saying it again. If there are any follow-up questions like that from the interviewer, do not let them confuse you. It's a challenge in a positive way. So stand your ground, engage in the conversation, have a professional discussion about it. That's also what they're looking for. This is what is going to give them a good time, so to speak. This is what's going to make them enjoy the interview as well. Really, it's for them to see how good you really are. So if they're challenging you, if they're asking questions back, it's a good sign. Don't shy away then. And last, from a technical perspective, testing and quality assurance are here in Germany an essential component of software engineering. So you should be prepared to demonstrate your understanding of, well, that's software testing, principles, practices like that. The interviewer may ask you, just as an example, to explain your approach to testing software, including unit testing. Sometimes it goes into integration testing, regression testing as well, but unit testing really is something I would say is the most frequently required skill in the entire testing arena. I know that especially if you worked for large companies, this is something you may not be super familiar with because somebody else is doing it at your department, somebody else is doing it at your company. But here, in Germany, you may really end up working in a smaller company like that. And this is where it will become an essential skill. They will require you to possess this skill. So if you're still junior and you're looking for a job in Germany, unit testing it is that you want to really brush up on. It's a complementary asset here. And really, from a German point of view, there is no good code without it being tested. It doesn't make any sense to send anything out that has not been tested yet. I mean, that goes without saying, right? Apart from technical skills, I mentioned it already, soft skills and communication are crucial for any software engineer here. Really. You should be prepared to demonstrate your ability to work in a team, communicate mostly effectively, of course, handle different stakeholders' expectations. And yeah, this is where good recruiters, from my experience, or good hiring managers will generally ask you scenario-based questions like, hey, imagine this or that scenario, how would you react to that? Or if this happens, what would you do? And so on. And then it comes down to exactly what I mentioned, soft skills and communication, right? In fact, I would say, or I would go as far as saying that technical skills, problem-solving abilities, and communication skills, they all come hand in hand, right? They're all required equally, I would even say. And by preparing well for the technical rounds, you can increase your chances of getting hired and starting a successful career, of course. But honestly, you can be the best coder in the world. If you're not really good at communicating, you might be struggling along the way. It can still work out for you, right? But still, that's what I find from my personal experience. If you are interested in learning more about how to actually land a job in Germany, then you can also go ahead and watch our video training where you find the link right underneath this video. I hope that this was useful to you. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you then want to join our personal coaching program, book a get-to-know call with us, send us your CV after you've watched the said video entirely to understand how we work. And we are looking forward to meeting you soon. All the best. See you soon.